Have you ever delayed a big financial decision because it wasn't perfect? Maybe you wanted to start investing, launch a side business, or negotiate a raise, but you kept thinking, I'm not ready yet. It's not the right time. I don't know enough. And before you know it, months, even years have gone by, and nothing has changed. This is the hidden cost of the all or nothing mindset. The belief that unless everything is perfect, you shouldn't start at all. It feels safe. It feels smart. But in reality, it's one of the biggest obstacles to progress, especially in your financial life. Perfectionism convinces you that waiting will protect you from failure, embarrassment, or loss. It masks itself as discipline, but underneath, it quietly steals your opportunities. Every delayed investment, every postponed decision, every avoided risk compounds into a silent tax on your wealth and your future. And the paradox is cruel. The more you wait for perfect conditions, the further away success drifts. You tell yourself you'll act when you know enough, have enough money, or are fully prepared. But life rarely presents perfect moments. Opportunities are messy, unpredictable, and imperfect. And if you keep waiting, you'll spend your entire life preparing without ever arriving. In this video, we're going to expose the real cost of all or nothing. We'll show how perfectionism hijacks your financial decisions, keeps you stuck in a loop of inaction, and prevents you from building real wealth. We'll explore why your brain loves the idea of doing everything perfectly, why it's actually a trap, and most importantly, how to break free and start taking imperfect action that leads to consistent progress. By the end of this video, you'll see why waiting for perfection is costing you more than money. It's costing you time, growth, and the life you could be building right now. So if you've ever told yourself, I'll start when everything is perfect, it's time to face the truth. Because the cost of doing nothing perfectly is far greater than the cost of doing something imperfectly. The all or nothing mindset is more common than you think. It doesn't just affect your personal life. It's a major roadblock in your financial journey. At its core, this mindset is driven by perfectionism. The belief that unless everything is flawless, it's better not to act at all. It's the voice in your head that says, I shouldn't invest until I've read every book, or I won't negotiate my salary until I have the perfect argument. On the surface, it feels rational, even responsible. But underneath, it's quietly eroding your potential. Why does this happen? Our brains are wired to avoid mistakes and seek control. Perfectionism is, in many ways, a survival mechanism. It wants to protect you from failure, embarrassment, or loss. When applied to finances, this protective instinct backfires. Instead of encouraging careful planning, it creates paralysis. You delay opening that investment account, avoid taking calculated risks, and push off important decisions indefinitely. Over time, small delays accumulate into significant lost opportunities. The consequences of the all or nothing mindset are both psychological and financial. Psychologically, it fuels anxiety and self-criticism. You beat yourself up for not being ready, for not knowing enough, or for not achieving perfect outcomes. Financially, the cost is concrete. Missed investments, delayed income growth, stalled career progress, and the compounding effect of waiting too long to act. Even small steps, taken consistently, can outpace waiting for the perfect moment. Yet perfectionism convinces you that half measures are meaningless. This mindset also fosters a fear-based relationship with money. You become risk-averse, prioritizing avoiding loss over pursuing gain. You justify inaction with logic. I need more knowledge, more money, more confidence. But the truth is, knowledge, resources, and confidence grow through action. By refusing to act until conditions are perfect, you trap yourself in a cycle of stagnation. Financial success rarely comes from perfect execution. It comes from imperfect action, learning from mistakes, and iterating along the way. Those who embrace action, despite uncertainty, compound small wins over time. Perfectionists, by contrast, wait endlessly for a moment that may never come. And the cost isn't hypothetical. It's measured in lost opportunities, delayed wealth, and the frustration of knowing what could have been. Understanding this is the first step toward freedom. Recognizing the all-or-nothing trap allows you to separate planning from paralysis, preparation from procrastination. It allows you to see that progress is a series of imperfect steps, not a single flawless leap. And when you start acting despite imperfections, momentum builds. Mistakes teach lessons, and financial growth becomes possible, even inevitable. In this video, we'll follow a story that illustrates exactly how perfectionism manifests in everyday financial decisions. The hidden costs it imposes, and the psychological patterns that make it so seductive. By seeing these patterns in action, you'll be able to recognize them in your own life and start taking the small, imperfect steps that lead to meaningful progress, both financially and personally. Meet Samantha. She grew up in a household where mistakes were criticized, and anything less than perfect was met with disappointment. From a young age, she learned that excellence was expected and mediocrity was unacceptable. It shaped her personality, meticulous, cautious, and determined to always get it right. As Samantha entered adulthood, this mindset seemed like a superpower. She excelled academically, landed a prestigious job, and impressed colleagues with her attention to detail. Her finances were no different. Every decision was analyzed. Every investment researched extensively. Every expense scrutinized. She had a plan for everything, or at least she thought she did. Her spreadsheet was flawless, her budget meticulous, and every financial goal meticulously outlined. At first, it felt empowering. She believed that if she just waited, planned, and perfected her strategy, success would be inevitable. She imagined the day when she could finally invest, launch her side project, or buy her dream home, and it would all be perfect. In her mind, the moment of perfection was a reward for her diligence, a milestone she had earned through preparation. Colleagues and friends admired her discipline. They envied her careful planning and her ability to avoid mistakes. Samantha, in turn, felt validated by the control she exerted over every detail of her life. Perfectionism felt like safety, like mastery, like responsibility. It gave her confidence, a sense that she could avoid failure if only she prepared thoroughly enough. But perfectionism also has a hidden cost. By focusing so intensely on flawless execution, Samantha began delaying real action. She spent months researching investment options but never opened an account. She drafted business plans for her side project but never launched it. She waited for the perfect moment to negotiate a raise, convinced that any misstep could derail her progress. And yet outwardly, she looked successful. Her apartment was neat, her career trajectory impressive, and her friends saw her as someone who had it all together. The problem was that beneath the surface, Samantha's perfectionism was quietly sabotaging her potential. Opportunities slipped through her fingers, progress stalled, and the weight of inaction grew heavier with each passing month. The cruel irony of the all-or-nothing mindset is that what feels like control is often paralysis. The discipline that appears to be building security is often delaying growth. The careful preparation that feels like a safeguard is often the reason she's not moving forward. Yet Samantha doesn't see it as a flaw. She sees it as diligence. She believes that perfectionism is her edge, the secret to success. And that belief is what makes it so seductive and so dangerous. Because the reality is that financial growth, career advancement, and meaningful action rarely come from waiting for perfection. They come from imperfect steps, from learning while doing, and from accepting that mistakes are part of the process. Samantha's story shows the allure of perfectionism, how it feels like a shield, how it initially rewards with confidence and control, and sets the stage for the consequences to come. As months turned into years, Samantha began to feel the real weight of her perfectionism. The same discipline and meticulous attention to detail that once felt empowering now became a silent cage. Every financial decision turned into a source of anxiety. She questioned herself constantly. What if I choose the wrong investment? What if my business idea fails? What if I negotiate poorly and ruin my reputation? The fear of imperfection grew stronger, and with it, a subtle but persistent paralysis. Opportunities that could have propelled her forward started slipping through her fingers. A colleague invited her to join a promising startup. She declined, convinced she wasn't fully prepared. An investment opportunity arose. She hesitated, researching endlessly, and by the time she felt ready, it was gone. Even small, actionable steps like automating her savings, starting a side project, or negotiating for a raise were postponed in the name of preparation. The more she waited, the more the pressure mounted. Every delay reinforced the internal story. Mistakes are dangerous. Imperfection is unacceptable, and inaction is safer than risk. She watched peers take imperfect steps, make bold moves, and see results, all while she remained frozen in her cycle of planning without execution. Her frustration grew, but she dismissed it as part of being responsible and careful. Financially, the consequences became unmistakable. Her net worth remained stagnant. Small wins that could have compounded over time were missed. Potential growth from early investments or side ventures evaporated simply because she waited for a perfect moment that never came. Her income plateaued, not due to lack of talent or knowledge, but because she refused to act until conditions felt ideal. Psychological cost was equally heavy. Chronic stress, anxiety, and self-criticism took a toll on her confidence and motivation. Perfectionism, once her ally, had quietly transformed into attacks on her energy, focus, and creativity. She was trapped in a cruel paradox. The more she aimed for perfection, the less she progressed. Each missed opportunity confirmed her fears, feeding the mental loop that perfection was necessary before action. This is the hidden price of the all-or-nothing mindset. It masquerades as prudence and diligence, but in reality, it blocks action, stalls growth, and fosters chronic frustration. It convinces you that waiting is preparation, when in truth, it's procrastination in disguise. It converts ambition into inaction, talent into stagnation, and potential into regret. Even with intelligence, skill, and dedication, perfectionists like Samantha can find themselves stuck. Their attention to detail and careful planning, traits often praised as strengths, can secretly sabotage their progress. Opportunities pass by, financial growth stalls, and the gap between potential and reality widens. Samantha's story is a warning. The desire to do everything perfectly may feel noble, but the cost is real, measured in lost opportunities, delayed achievements, and unfulfilled potential. Perfectionism doesn't just slow progress, it can completely freeze it, leaving ambitious, talented people trapped in a cycle of waiting for a moment that never arrives. While the world moves forward, those trapped by all or nothing are left watching, knowing what could have been. Perfectionism feels like a strength, but underneath, it's a psychological trap. The all-or-nothing mindset is fueled by a combination of fear, cognitive biases, and mental shortcuts that make inaction feel safer than action. Psychologists call this catastrophizing, the tendency to anticipate the worst possible outcome and overestimate its impact. When Samantha considers an investment or a career move, her brain instantly imagines every way it could fail. The fear of imperfection, of making the wrong choice, is magnified, paralyzing her decision-making. Another mechanism at play is loss aversion. Humans are wired to feel losses more acutely than gains. Samantha's perfectionism tricks her into thinking that any mistake is catastrophic, while she undervalues the incremental gains of imperfect action. She waits for a flawless opportunity, but in doing so, she misses countless chances for small wins that over time could compound into real growth. The all-or-nothing mindset also feeds on self-identity. Perfectionists often tie their self-worth to flawless performance. To start before everything is perfect would feel like admitting imperfection, which threatens their sense of competence and control. So the mind rationalizes inaction as prudence, convincing itself that waiting is responsible, when really it's fear disguised as strategy. This mindset creates a loop. Fear leads to inaction. Inaction reinforces self-criticism. Self-criticism strengthens perfectionism. The result is stagnation, delayed financial progress, and mounting frustration. What's particularly insidious is that the perfectionist brain overestimates control. Samantha believes she can predict and manage every variable, so she waits for the perfect moment. But life is unpredictable, and waiting for conditions to be ideal is a trap. The perfect moment rarely exists. Meanwhile, the world moves forward, opportunities are seized, and wealth grows elsewhere. Breaking free requires understanding these mental patterns, recognizing catastrophizing, loss aversion. An identity-based perfectionism allows you to separate rational planning from paralyzing fear. You begin to see that imperfect action is not reckless. It's the path to growth. Small steps, taken consistently, beat perfect planning, delayed indefinitely. Samantha's psychological trap is common. Perfectionism and all-or-nothing thinking masquerade as responsibility, but they secretly block progress. Once you identify the mechanisms behind the mindset, you can start taking imperfect action with awareness and intention. That's the key. Understanding your mind allows you to act despite fear, to grow despite imperfection, and to achieve despite the absence of the perfect moment. The cost of ignoring these patterns is high. Lost opportunities, stalled financial growth, and the frustration of knowing you could have done more. The reward of understanding them. Freedom to act, learn, and build momentum, even when conditions aren't flawless. Samantha's story is a lesson for anyone caught in the all-or-nothing trap. Perfectionism may feel like discipline or responsibility, but it comes at a hidden cost. Lost opportunities, delayed financial progress, and growing anxiety. The first step to breaking free is awareness. Lesson 1. Recognize your perfectionist patterns. Pay attention to thoughts that stop you from taking action. Do you delay decisions because things aren't perfect? Do you overanalyze every option, waiting for an ideal moment that never comes? Notice the loop and write it down. Awareness is the foundation of change. Lesson 2. Reframe mistakes as learning, not failure. Perfectionists equate mistakes with incompetence, but mistakes are essential for growth. Every small misstep in investing, career decisions, or side projects is data feedback to refine your approach. By viewing errors as part of the process, you reduce fear and make action possible. Lesson 3. Start with imperfect steps. You don't need to know everything or have perfect conditions to begin. Open that investment account with a small amount. Launch a basic version of your project. Negotiate your salary even if your argument isn't flawless. Action, even imperfect, builds momentum and confidence. Over time, small steps compound into real financial growth. Lesson 4. Separate identity from outcomes. Your self-worth is not tied to perfection. Starting before you feel ready doesn't make you reckless. It makes you courageous. Samantha learned that taking action, learning, and adjusting is far more valuable than waiting for a flawless plan that may never materialize. Lesson 5. Build supportive habits and environment. Surround yourself with people who value progress over perfection. Track your actions, celebrate small wins, and reinforce momentum. Habitual, imperfect action beats sporadic, perfect execution every time. Lesson 6. Embrace flexibility over control. Life is unpredictable, and waiting for ideal conditions is a trap. By focusing on what you can do now rather than what's perfect, you reclaim control over your decisions and outcomes. You learn to respond effectively to reality, not an imagined ideal. Samantha's journey reminds us that perfectionism is seductive because it feels safe, controlled, and responsible. But the cost is high. It's measured in opportunities missed, delayed achievements, and potential that never fully manifests. The all-or-nothing mindset promises security, but delivers stagnation. By applying these lessons, you can break free, make imperfect action, reframe mistakes, separate self-worth from results, build supportive habits, and focus on what you can control. These steps transform the relationship with money, work, and life. Instead of waiting endlessly for a perfect moment, you create momentum, seize opportunities, and grow consistently. Perfectionism doesn't vanish overnight. It's a lifelong process of noticing patterns, challenging them, and choosing action over inaction. But the rewards are profound: financial progress, reduced anxiety, and the satisfaction of knowing you're moving forward. The key truth is simple. You don't need to be perfect to succeed. Action, courage, and consistency matter more than flawless execution. The cost of waiting for perfection is far greater than the risk of doing something imperfectly. Samantha's story is a reminder and a challenge to act now, despite imperfection, and reclaim the life and financial future you deserve. If this video resonated with you, it's time to take action. Stop waiting for perfection. Start taking imperfect steps today. Whether it's opening that investment account, launching your side project, or negotiating for a raise, action matters far more than flawless execution. Write down one area where you've been stuck, frozen by all or nothing thinking. Then commit to one small step you can take this week. Imperfect, but forward moving. Momentum grows through action, not waiting. Share this video with someone who struggles with perfectionism. The more people recognize the cost of all or nothing, the more we can break free from the trap of inaction. Subscribe to the channel for more insights into the hidden forces shaping your money, your decisions, and your life. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a video that can change the way you think about progress, success, and wealth. Remember, waiting for perfect conditions is the most expensive mistake of all. Start now. Take action, learn, adjust. Momentum beats perfection every time. Your financial future, your goals, and your growth depend on the steps you take today. Imperfect, bold, and consistent.